So the session is in recording. Thank you for your permission, as always. And for us to take notes or to lay hold on the previous sessions we've had so far, you can quickly go down to our YouTube channel, and that can be done, after this session, just to see as many talent basket.co.uk/WAAF. This particular URL is essentially for us to put in our registration as we commence. Then other things you can easily get them. So in the last session, we delve into the world of SQL, which is structured query language. And for the benefit of those who are probably just joining or just watching this session, we've covered a very, very um, voluminous amount of uh, sessions and different categories of what we have marked for the whole series, as it were. So it all began from Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, 4, 5, and we are currently on Module 6. We've extensively dealt with Excel, and we've explored as much as possible. Of course, we couldn't exhaust the whole of Excel, but we have explored adequately as much as we could, or time could allow us. And what led to that was the realization of this particular dashboard, against which people requested for in-depth exposure into different features we could take advantage of on Excel, as it were. And that's exactly what led us to deep dive into several other areas in Excel that gave us those very uh, deep insights into the various aspects of Excel as a tool. But beyond Excel, as somebody familiarizing or getting familiar with data, you would necessarily have to take advantage of other tools that are meant for data analytics and even in data science, as it were. So Excel is more like the foundational tool which a layperson can easily co-occur with and get to understand a few things. And because Excel itself is one of the tools in Microsoft Office itself, people see it and use a part of it for daily business essential activities, but it is deeper than what people use it for. And that's exactly why we had to start with it, to make it a point of duty to see how very useful Excel is beyond what people thought it was. So you could go ahead to our YouTube channels to see as many sessions recorded on Excel as possible in that regard. So following this particular request, that's what led to this comprehensive curriculum, which we've started for more than 15 weeks now, or 15 sessions, I would say. And summarily, the curriculum is centered on these 9 to 10 modules, starting from module 1, which is an introductory part of data analytics essential, which is just to help as many people as possible to have a structural understanding when they are faced with data. And you cannot run away from data. Gone are the days when it is only select few that have been troubled when it comes to data essential. In today's business world, you cannot run away from data. It's either in meetings or you want to make a decision or you want to decide on a particular project. You cannot just make You cannot just take steps out of the blues. You cannot just rely on intuition. You cannot just be flying in the dark. You just have to have informed decision at every point in time. And the only thing that can give you informed capability to make informed decision is data availability. But it is not limited to data availability alone. Having data is one thing, making use of that data and allowing the insights from the data to guide your decision or your approach to anything you want to do is the most fundamental thing that is expected of everybody. And that is the gap this particular discovery for people manager had seen. Data is available everywhere. People see it more like everyday food and water, but they don't get to incorporate it when it becomes critically necessary during decision making. They still rely on intuition, and that is why most of the time, or more often than not, progress and performance are being stalled because people still default or deferred to the use of intuition as some other conventional or traditional approaches to deal with any challenge or circumstance that come their way. But the right approach and the rule of thumb in this age and time, especially in the advent of Internet 3.0, Internet of Things, big data, and what have you. And to cap it off, the big elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. You cannot just carelessly deal with data anyway any longer. You have to have a structured way of doing that. So the link I drop in the chat box will lead you to a file on the website of the organization where you can take advantage of some free materials to guide your projects. But practically, bringing those things home and for people to be able to uh, get their hands dirty, roll up their sleeves, and try their hands on a few things themselves. That is what this weekly session is meant for. And we've been true to our words and committed to this cause for more than 25 weeks now. And people who have been benefiting and following the sessions will be able to attest to that. Of course, the records are there too to do the attestation. So, moving on from there, so module one, module two, we've done that. Those ones we've dealt with data cleaning. Module three, we move forward ahead of that to do proper data preparation and cleaning further, transforming data with Excel, doing a lot of things, analyzing a lot of different features, formulas, and calculations with the use of Excel. We moved down to use of statistics too. Then thereafter, we ended in module 5 and moved to module 6, which we are currently. And on that, we've been dealing with relational database hinged or pivoted by the instrumentality of SQL, which we call SQL, commonly called in the data science world or in the tech world. SQL, which is a short form for structured query language. Then there is an opposite of SQL, which came in recent time, maybe say between 7 to 10 years ago, and they call it NoSQL, meaning that it is non-structured query language. Probably when we have dealt extensively well enough with SQL, we'll be able to move to NoSQL, which is non-SQL, and that is dealing essentially with big data because big data does not follow structured or relational database configuration that we are currently dealing with. So that is where we currently are. That's a summary of the curriculum. And this is the expansion of the curriculum itself. And as at last class, we were on this where we were discussing about how relationships are brought to bear in relational database. And we also made explanation of the fact that the word relational databases came from the word relationship, meaning an attempt to make different sub tables relate together and they are all speaking about a singular umbrella table such that when you are able to query from the pivotal table in between the all of the other set of table, you'll be able to call out or extract any set of information you want to extract. And that was a solution to a particular problem that was discovered with flat file databases, which started from ancient and historical time, where we dealt with the fact that a number of times when man began his economic activities, records and different transactions, activities were hedged in stones and what have you, before man discovered paper and ink and down to the discovery of computer, and it's now been recorded this way using devices and using electronic devices and what have you. And it could be in form of spreadsheet or Excel format, or it could be in CSV form this way. But beyond that, there were limitations that were discovered with flat file databases, which we covered in last section. For want of time, I will not go too deeply into that. So those problems discovered with flat file databases were answered by relational databases, which we are currently working on. And we are moving straight to that to continue where we stop for want of time, because we have just about 30 minutes for today's session due to another session coming up by 7 p.m. So, having said all of that, you could um, go through the session we had last week for deeper understanding on the introduction. So today we plan to play around some commands and a few queries or codes using SQL, or what we call structured query language. And of course, before we do that, we know we've already been dealing with codes even while we're using Excel. An ability to write formula or call out a few existing functions in Excel, you are already playing around codes. Even though those codes were not explicitly or expressly written by you, except the formula part, they are codes all the same. An ability to know what button to even press is even a right step in the right direction as to having strengths in dealing with whatever data problem that comes one's way and what solution to apply at any point in time. So SQL takes it a bit more further. We are now writing codes as much as programmers or developers will be writing codes. And a lot of them, of course, use structured query language for their database administration and design and building and all that. So today we'll be playing around this. We want to create database. The purpose, the word create database is a command, is a code on its own in SQL environments. And what is the purpose? The purpose is just to simply create database. So when you write it, the moment you write create database, and that's exactly how all programming language environment works. The moment you use the right word or the right language known to that programming application, it will color it just to show to you that, oh, I recognize this word you have just supplied. Go ahead, tell me next thing. It's ready to follow the next command you want to issue. So that's exactly how those programming environment works. So when you write create database, SQL understands and it knows that you want to create a database. The moment you type in the word use, it understands also that you want to specify a particular database to be used, or you want to select a particular database. All of these, or maybe 80 to 90% of it, if time permits, we will use them practically right in today's session. And you will see how enjoyable writing codes are, and some people who have been running away from it before now, you now see that it's just about putting your mind in it. There is nothing, absolutely nothing difficult about all of these things, just like everyday language. And as it is for learning new languages, of course, you will have the teaching stage, you have the initial challenge is expected. So you just have to ask as many questions as possible, go around it as many times as possible, then you become fluent in that language. So programmers are not people who were born with programming languages. They are people who took their time to take note of all the necessary verbs, nouns in each of those language, the dictions, the vocabularies. They learned them and they became fluent. So fluency does not come overnight. It is what you have to build over time and one step at a time. So this is essentially designed for beginners, just very simple words that we will start coming across, and a couple of other signs that we also need to incorporate to make the whole syntax correct. Then before you press your execution button, then the system runs the code you've written and supply you an answer. Okay, we also use the word create table, just like we use the word create database. So what you are trying to do is to create table. You cannot create table if you have not created database. So SQL, as it's called, structured, it follows order and structure. You cannot ask SQL to be creating table. It will never create that table unless you first specify the database on which that table is to rest. We also try and insert some element into the table we have created. By creating table, you do not have constituent element in that table automatically. You can create it and the features are there, but there may not be a single observation line of code, or there may not be a simple data point on that table. But that doesn't mean the table has not been created. It's already created and there will not be a single row. So it is after creating the table, you now start inserting data into the table row by row. And of course, it is good to learn how to insert row by row. Then later on, we graduate into how to import a whole data set outside SQL environment into SQL environment itself. So we also use select, update, delete, and describe. So those are different commands we will take into consideration as we are moving ahead today. Please ensure you let me know at any point in time if you cannot see my screen, and if you are unable to hear my voice, just let me know, please. It is not only good for the ongoing session because it's also a recorded session. It's also good that everything is entered. So we are using technology, but sometimes technology fails for one reason or the other, and we start or we begin to troubleshoot, looking for bugs here and there. So having said that, we can jump straight into SQL environment. So for the benefit of this class and to maximize our time very well, I will not be able to show us downloading, installing, and setting up SQL environment. So for the benefit of this class, I'm using MySQL, and this is how the interface looks like. So you have your very first set of ribbons arranged this way, just like the usual interface we have with other word processing tools and some analytical applications too. But SQL or MySQL looks a bit light, as we can see. So the upper part, this side you are seeing is where the codes are written, and a few buttons on top are what we use to run the codes, do a couple of things, or delete a few things. And right underneath here is where the results of the code you have just run is being displayed. As you can correctly see, I'm rovering around my cursor around a table. This table you are seeing is responding to the very last code or command that was issued right on top here. And that command was, I said select, I put a star, then I said from, then I wrote a particular name. This may just look conventional and ordinary, but it's a powerful statement and SQL already understood. So I told SQL to select and I wrote star. This star means all. It means entire. It means everything. Select everything from students. So this word student is not just a name, or it's not just a word, it's representing the name of a table. So I have instructed SQL to go into its database and I've also already specified the database. You will see where I specify it. Yeah, okay. Can you see? I said use school underscore demo. That is the name of a particular database right on this server. I will pull out all the database now for you to see, and you will notice that one of the databases right on this server we are using is named school underscore demo. So right here, I have told SQL to use that particular database, and I started supplying other information that I want it to pull out from some table resting on that database. In this case now, the table I was querying from is a table named students. And I said, select all the elements in that table and display it for me. And here is it right here now. It's giving me this entire table. I cannot believe it's just 6 minutes to 7 now. Okay, so I can say, just say show. By the time I'm writing show, you can see it puts a red mark there. It does not understand completely what I'm talking about. Okay, I go ahead and I say show databases. You can see it will remove that red stuff by the time I end the command. And for every command you are issuing on SQL, you must end it with a semicolon. The moment you issue that semicolon, it will understand what you are talking about and go ahead to do what you want it to do. So show, yes, database. So you can see the red line is gone, and that's the beauty of almost all programming languages. The moment you are seeing a red line underneath what you are writing or what you have written, is just showing you need to check something. There is one error or the other, or something is not aligning that you need to fix. So now I want to show us all the databases already created in this particular server. So, and when you want to execute any command, you cannot just go ahead and press execute. For instance, the shortcut for execution or running a command is you can just press your control key and enter key together. It will run it. But before you do that, if you press control key and enter key to just run, SQL is going to start running all the codes in the whole of this place. Can you see how many they have? Whereas I don't need all of them. They were just previous codes I've written. The one I currently want it to run, I can highlight that one. Then it will only run that one within even almost less than 0 seconds. It's as crazily fast as that. So I'll just highlight this particular one. Can you see I've highlighted it? Then I will run it by pressing Control Enter. It has run it. What did I ask it to do? I said it should show me all the databases. You can see these are the names of all the databases in this server. You can see one is information underscore schema, one is MySQL, one is performance underscore schema, one is retail underscore store, one is Saskilia, one is sales. Remember, I mentioned I created one called school underscore demo. This is it. And I use it here because I told it to use, can you see, use school underscore demo. This is database. There is another one called this, there's another one called this. So it's as just simple as that. Let me see somebody's, okay, maybe I can use somebody's name if I want to create table or I want to insert something. So it has shown us all the tables. Then I can now say, okay, no problem. You have shown us all the table. Go ahead and select all. You remember that star I mentioned? It means all. Select it from where now? From a particular table. So I know I created some tables. Okay. After showing all databases, you can also say you want it to show all tables, the right tables this way. It will show you. Then highlight and just execute. You can execute using control and enter key, or after highlighting the one you want to run, you can just pick this icon. This guy, this yellow icon here also means execute. By the time I press it to show me all the tables inside the database. Can you see? So because we are using the database called school underscore demo, so it goes right there and tells me there is a table named students under this database named school underscore demo. Okay, no problem. It has shown me that. So I want to select something from that table. Select, yep, all from, yes, what's the name of the table now? Students. I want it to show me all the elements in the table called students. Then I will end it with semicolon. I highlight it, execute it. So it's showing me right away. And can you see it has brought out the table called students resting on the database called um, school underscore demo, and the table is called students. So on students table, we have how many columns? 4 columns. A column for ID, which is the primary key, a column for the name of the student, a column for the age of the student, then the column for the course, the name of the course the student is taking. I can go ahead and say, okay, I want you to change, or let's say we discover that the age of a particular student that has been entered into the table was wrongly written. For instance, I can go to student ID number 5. The student's name is James, as you can see, and the age is 21. The student is studying economics. So if it comes back and the student says, no, my age is not 21, I am actually 18. So I want the record in the school to show or be reflecting my actual age. If it brings all the necessary documents to back that claim up, that's fine. The department will take all the necessary documents, scan them, keep them in the student file, then make a request for approval with the database administrator down to the final person. When that approval is given, all is filed again, plus all the documents submitted by the student, then the person in charge goes ahead to effect the change. That is proper logical process being followed and compliance in place. So to do that, all that needed to be done is to update. So I will now need to go back into the database. Let's say I'm the database administrator. I'll just go back into the database. Okay, no problem. I will update your age. Since you said your age is not 21, it's 17. No problem. I'll just go there, come here, go to the next line of code, put this. So I want to correct that particular age. So it is in the table called students. Yes, fine. Then the age, I want to set the age to, let's say 17. Then what is the ID number? The ID number of the student involved is 5. So where the ID number equals to what now? I will change this one to 5. Then I select this code itself. I run it. Having run it now, I can see green everywhere. It means that code ran correctly. For me to know if it ran correctly, I need to now see the table again. So I go back in here and I say, okay, show me the table again. So you can just copy your codes easily instead of having to type when you know what you need to do. So I can just say select everything away. Also again from the table called students, I highlight it this way, I run it, then it brings the table out. I go to that guy called James. Remember it was formerly 21 or was it 19? Yeah, now I've changed it to 17 and 17 is occurring here. So this is this is how simple and how quick it is for you to create database, create table, adjust table, insert extra line on a particular table, and do a lot of things as much as possible using SQL, even just at the beginning, without wasting too much time on anything as it were. So when you want to do a few things that way, you just need to go inside where the work is already going and effect a few things you want to do. So let me quickly do this. Then we'll probably, I don't know, 30 minutes is already gone now. Okay, I have that code there. What do I want to do now? I have 8 students on this table. I want to, let's say we are in the middle of the term and another student just came from nowhere. Maybe they relocated and the students need to also be in school. Okay, the student has been admitted and we need to bring the student's name into the official database too. So I want to insert now. So the code is insert into students, meaning that put this record inside a table called students. Inside that table, there is a column called name. You have already specified it. This is name. There's a column called age. This is it. There's a column called course. You can see all of them downward here. The very first column, which is ID, is the primary key. You don't need to repeat it again while creating a new one, because that one is a very, very essential column that the database itself will self-generate, or will auto-generate, or will auto, because it has been set to auto-increment, it will generate it by itself. If you want to add 1 million more students, it will be adding them by itself by creating extra ID for them up to that 1 million number. So you don't need to specify the primary key column again. That's why it's not included. When it was created afresh, it was specify ID, name, age, and course. But because that ID has been set to auto-generate, subsequent instruction will not require that again. So very quickly, let me just finish this then. Intel students, let me see somebody's name there. Whose name can I use? Can I use? Okay, I can use King's name. You don't need to tell me your age anyway, don't worry. King, then let me just say 27, age. What does King want to study? Let's say King is studying data science. Yep. So that has been specified. So I have told it now, insert into students table, this below name, the age, and the course, and I have specified it right here at the bottom. Don't forget, I need to put semicolon to end the command. So I will just select all of them this way, then I will execute it. So it has executed straight away by that command. How will I know? I now need to go and check. I'll come down here, then I'll say select all from what's the name of the table now? We call it students, because we now have a new student in the school and we want to put the student name right uh, on the record. So I've done that. Select all from students table, select this way, execute, it brings it out. So let's go, let's see our king. You can see king is now on number 9th row in the table. This is how simple, like, SQL can be. And I just want to whet our appetite and see the beauty of what most of us have been running away from, which is actually affecting our performance and efficiency at work. And I want to uh, break that particular fear away. Make us break free away from that fear that this is actually very, very possible. The other call, I'm being already beeped to get in there now, and I will need to run. So we will take up from this particular point next session and start executing other commands in SQL. So just know that you can always deal with data and bring it into your decision making. And there is nothing too essentially more of a big deal. You and everybody can always learn it and use the insights in whatever decision they are making. Thank you so much for your time once again. We will have to draw the curtain at this point. Please follow the website and do all sorts of things to get notification for next session. Catch you all once again. Thank you for your time.